with Unrivaled, right? Want to just hear, A, what your experience was and what you thought it would be going into it and what your point of view on it is having just finished the first season.
I had no idea what we were doing. Obviously, it was like we were going to go to play basketball, but besides that, we didn't know the structure, we didn't know the layout, all those things, and that's a way better option than going overseas in a foreign country, not speaking the language, and you're just by yourself. Yeah. And then the only thing you have is basketball when you're overseas. Like, you don't really have your family, you don't have your friends, obviously you have your teammates, but if you don't speak the language, you're just kind of like...
Damn, so it is like loving basketball.
Just like loving basketball. Just like loving basketball. No, I'm being serious. I'm just like it. My teammate was like, listen, the last 3 minutes of the quarter, just shoot. I was like, are you sure? Like, now you speak English? Like, all of a sudden, it was crazy.
Tampa, what up? My name is Paul Rivera. My friends call me PR. I am ecstatic to be here with you guys. We have a great, phenomenal show lined up for you guys. First and foremost, this person has actually been on the shop before. One of the funniest people we've ever had on the shop. Emmy-nominated comedian. Give it up for Sam J. This next guest we have, I think she's coming for my job because she really actually does this. She's a pro. Give it up for ESPN basketball analyst, Andraya Carter. And you ever think you're doing something like big, or like you consider yourself something? Like, if people ask me, I'm like, oh, I play ball, like I'm a hooper. And then this next guest came in, and two-time champion, two-time Olympic gold medalist, rookie of the year, I believe, entrepreneur. You know, she goes by one name. Give it up for Jewell. What's up, guys? Welcome to the shop.
What's good?
What's going on?
Thank you for having us.
Of course, of course. I actually, I felt it was only right as we think about this week that we're here in Tampa for, and like the culmination of a long season, and crowning a champion on Sunday. It had me thinking about the actual journey. Drea, I want to hop over to you. We were talking in the back, and you were saying, like, when you were coming out of high school, being the person, like, on your block, and then your neighborhood, and then like your town or your city or whatnot, and then your state. And then you get to Tennessee, and it's like, oh, this is a different level. What was that like for you day one, going from like high school elite level talent to like a freshman at Tennessee?
Yeah, it was definitely a challenge. For me, I tore my ACL my senior year in high school, so didn't really play much that season, and then got to Tennessee the next year as a freshman. Played in 7 games, and then I had a shoulder surgery. So then that next year was kind of like my first year. And, you know, in high school, you know this drill, you're asked to do everything. You need to score, you need to, you know, defend, get blocks, run the team, play the 4, play the 1. And when I got to Tennessee, I just had so much talent around me that I really got to hone in on a specific role for the team. Guarding Jewell was my role. I don't know if anybody in the crowd has ever played phenomenal defense and someone still hits a bucket on you, but it breaks your heart. Like, nothing is worse than that. Happened all the time. But, you know, I think the best part at Tennessee was really finding what worked for me and how I could help my team, and really locking in on that. And it's kind of something I've carried with me after basketball was over. I was like, what am I good at, and how do I lock in on that?
Jules, I go to you. You were the number 1 pick in the draft?
Yeah.
I just wanted to hear you say it. Yeah, number 1 pick in the draft. There's a different level of pressure that comes with that, right? It's like you can't, you know, anyone else, you have like a startup business, or, you know, you're at an open mic or a tryout, whatnot. You're the number 1 pick. What type of pressure did you feel that pressure day one?
You know, for me, my story is a little different because I left college early. Being the youngest person in the draft, you know, doing something that no one's ever done before, leaving Notre Dame early. I felt pressure.
Let's give that a hand. Let's give that a hand, please.
No.
It's not a small thing. Nah.
No, I appreciate it, but
for real.
when you're trying to do something that no one's really done before, you know, you obviously have to have a lot of confidence, but preparation with it. Yeah, I feel like I could do it. And I try to make sure that I wasn't trying to prove anyone wrong, because that's like the worst thing to do for me. You play differently when you're just trying to prove people wrong. I just wanted to have fun. I wanted to do something that I was super passionate about, and, you know, making that decision was the best decision I could have made in my life.
I mean, I'd say it worked out. You got Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, it's got some rings, got some gold medals. It's all cool.
I wanna stay on the women's game for a second, and I purposely say women's game because for me it's both collegiately and professionally. It feels like we're in a different era of like it's just exciting, man. Like it's exciting. There's parity. There's young players. There's vets. There's, Is that the right assessment, Jewell? I'll start with you. Are you feeling that as a player? Do you see that? Do you feel it?
No, for sure. I feel like everyone's playing like they're babes in the stands. Everyone's in their bag. The confidence level is so, it's rising. I think that's probably the biggest shift that I've noticed. I mean, obviously you could talk to it too. I feel like when I first got into the league, it kind of felt like 5 passes to score. Like everyone's very like robotic. Now everyone's, in their bag. Everyone's confident. They're training more. Obviously everyone's talking about it. And I think that's awesome for women too, to just know that they can do it. That it's available for them. They have no limits. And it's really cool to see.
So, Andraya, as an analyst, have you felt that as well, like having a front row seat to the game, like just the evolution of it?
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like, maybe in the past, the W that we grew up watching, there were a few players spread out throughout the league who you just loved to watch hoop. And now there's 2 or 3 players on every team that you can watch and like fall in love with their game because they're crafty or they're a great shooter or there's just so many unique individuals. And I think now, too, people get to fall in love with the players because we get to see so much of them off the court as well. And so you really get to know them and you get to learn them, and fans get attached to these women because of how amazing they are. We get to see so many of their games. We have so many shows now to break down their games and talk about them and hype the games up. So I just think overall, there are so many more things to fall in love with while you're watching any game, any matchup. There's something you can get attached to that makes you want to come back for more. And I think people continuously coming back for more has created this energy that I think we all feel.
Yeah, it's like I knew stuff was different when my brother called me last year, like, yo, you watching this LSU game, yo? It's all crazy. I'm like, okay, like this is so cool. I would have to like beg to watch the game, like, yo, it's gonna be good, I promise. And now he's hitting me, so I think you feel that culturally too, for sure.
The game, at least to me, has never been hotter, right? When you look at attendance and viewership and brand deals and all of those things, what do we attribute that to? Because there's always been phenomenal players, right? There's always been, I go back to like Teresa Weatherspoon back in the day, like New York Liberty, I'm from New York, so there's always been phenomenal players. What do we think, and it may just be what you just referenced, timing, but do you have a point of view on why that is now, why the game's hotter than it's ever been?
I think it's now we finally have everything working in the same direction. Like everything is pulling in the same direction. So we've always had great players, but we haven't necessarily had pregame shows or the coverage or morning shows covering the game. So people aren't necessarily thinking that game 4 of the finals is on because there's nothing leading up to it, right? So now we have coverage, which builds the fan bases, which then leads to brands and companies investing. So now everything's better when more money's involved. So now the product looks better, the players are taken better care of, the opportunities look better, and now all of it is moving in the same direction. Because if one of those things leaves, if we have morning shows and we have great players and we have fans, but there's no businesses invested, it's not going to work. If we have businesses invested but we have no fans, it's not going to work. We have to have everything pulling in the right direction, and this time has finally been where everything meets at one point, and I think it's just exploded because of that.
Yeah, that makes. You gonna say something, Joe?
No, I mean, for sure. I think a lot of it's too, I kind of look at women's sports as like a startup. It's like it takes time. If you look at any other league, like where the time was, they were still where we were. And now with everything coming together, like we're right on time. You don't want to rush the process.
That's what makes me so mad. People are like, well, look at the NBA. I'm like, the NBA just had its 75th anniversary.
Yeah.
The W just had at the same year, it was like its 25th anniversary. So it's you can't expect it to look exactly the same. We can expect it actually to grow a lot faster
100%.
because of where we are right now.
You mentioned something. You mentioned the M word, the money word, and it's been well documented, obviously, pay disparity in sports. But it really is a societal conversation and question, right? I wanted to ask you, Sam, is there pay disparity between in male comedians? Speak on it. You've been waiting for this question. You're like, let's get to it.
For sure. I mean, America's America, you know what I mean? So, like, there's a pay disparity between male comedians and female comedians. There's a pay disparity between black comedians and white comedians, you know what I mean? It's hard to really judge it on comedy, though, because it's also just like, it's a reflection of the world. You know what I mean? Like, I have a good friend, he's touring, he's selling out arenas, so that's just the money he's making. You know what I mean? But I can't say it's not helping that he's like a white guy, you know, talking white guy shit for white guys.
The facts are the facts. And doing research for this, did I read correctly that you did your first stand-up at 29?
Yeah. I started at 29. Yeah.
And to me, I can't think of anything more terrifying as someone that does this in front of live audience, anything more terrifying than stand-up comedy. Do you remember what that first show was like?
Yeah, I got booed. It was at this little bar, like, you know, back before everyone was just getting famous off the internet. You had to like really go out and do like bar shows to start. So it was at this bar, and the people there were watching the game, and then they turned the game off, and they were like, time for stand-up comedy, which nobody wanted. And then I was first, and as soon as I was like, yo, the dude was just like, boo, turn back the game. And it was like, I don't know if this is for me, but also
you didn't get the first joke out?
I didn't get a joke out. That's why I couldn't feel too bad, because I was like, he hasn't even heard it, so he doesn't know if it's good or bad. He just wants to watch the game, which I understand. I was probably not as good as the game at that point. So it was cool, but that first boo was good, because at least I knew then, like, all right, I can handle being booed. It's not the end of the world.
How confident were you, like, the beginning of the journey that this thing is going to work? I'm going to be good at this thing.
I was mad confident. I know that sounds crazy, but I knew, like, if I just kept doing it, like, what was for me was gonna come to me. I don't know why. I just felt like I was stepping into what was mine. I don't know how to explain it. So I was really confident that it was gonna work out some kind of way. Not this way, but that like wasn't even on my scale. You know what I mean? I just wanted to like tour and be able to pay my rent.
That's dope. That's dope. It's a good start. Rent. All right. One thing you learn about people that are, whether they're professional athletes at the highest level or personalities or talent, they're not really much different than we are, right? They're dealing with like their struggles, and they're dealing with their issues and things that they're trying to get through, you know. And doing the research for this, I didn't know you were diagnosed with lupus.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, in my 20s, yeah, for sure.
So like how has that impacted how you've seen life, how you've approached it, and just kind of your overall thought on it?
Yeah, man. Well, you know, my mom passed away when I was 16, and she died from lupus. Wow. And so when I got diagnosed with lupus, at first it felt like an automatic death sentence, because I had watched my mom die, you know, like 4 years prior to that. So I spent a little bit of my life crashing out, which is also why it took me so late to kind of get to comedy and kind of get to where I wanted, because I spent a good amount of my 20s, I was just in Atlanta, drinking, partying, like getting blackout, because I was like, bro, I'm not even gonna live that long, you know what I mean? Like, I don't have that much time here anyway, so I kind of had a real who gives a fuck attitude about the whole situation. And then I was like 28 and I didn't die, and I was like, hey man.
What now?
You still alive, dog. You might want to start trying to figure yourself out. And then I started waking up and kind of dealing with my stuff. I think that's the biggest thing, is like, with all these stories, at the end of the day, it's like, you got to deal with yourself, you know, and I kind of had to look myself in the mirror and ask myself some tough questions and deal with my issues. And in doing that, you know, I started to like think about my future and kind of what I wanted.
Yeah. That had to be the most sobering, best, like, oh shit, I'm still here, what now, like life moment.
Yeah, for sure.
Jewell, I know something that's near and dear to your heart is, you know, the focus on like invisible disabilities, and you want to talk a little bit about the organization you've been a part of.
Yeah, you know, I was going into high school, just found out that I was diagnosed with dyslexia. I had no idea. So the whole time I was thinking like I couldn't read, but it was like actually my brain. And so finding ways to navigate that, and not knowing at the time too, the school didn't want to test me. So I like, from, I don't know, kindergarten to high school, no one wanted to test me. It was like, oh, you're just a lazy athlete. Like, and it's like, no, I actually like have something, and I want to figure out what it is, because I want to be successful. And so moving forward, it was always just like, I can't be the only one. And at the time, no one really talked about learning disabilities. It wasn't like a cool thing to talk about. Definitely if you're an athlete, it's like, oh, that makes you soft. So I never really talked about it. And then once I got to the league, I realized there's a lot of resources that you can have and partner with. And I'm really big on giving back. I really have a passion for that and find ways to do that and find partners that want to do that. And so I partnered with Eye to Eye, and they've been amazing. I've talked to them all the time, and I've also partnered with Microsoft and have devices that help people that learn differently be successful. At the end of the day, we all want to be successful. It doesn't matter how you learn, how you process information. No one wants to fail. Like, that's not like, hey, let's wake up this morning and let's suck. Like, no one ever says that, right? So you want to wake up and have a chance at change your life or whatever that is. And so it's been really cool to kind of go through that process and be able to share my story with other people and seeing how much of an impact that actually has on people.
That's dope. Andraya, over to you. Yes, give it up, please. Yes. Andraya, I know for you, something that I feel has gotten a lot more attention as of late. I don't know if it's enough attention, but mental health, right? Specifically with not only athletes but just people in general. I know that's something that's near and dear to your heart. Want to speak on it a little bit?
Yeah, my therapist's name is Laura. She's wonderful. She is one of my favorite people ever. I talk about her in shows. I struggle a lot with anxiety around like 2020, 2021. I was having really bad panic attacks. I don't know if anyone's ever had a panic attack, but they're awful.
I had one on a plane. We had an emergency landing. I've never said that out public, actually.
Yeah, and it was awful, right?
I thought I was going to die.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've flown 2 million, literally 2 million, my assistant's here somewhere. I've flown 2 million miles, and not to make this like my...
No, you got it.
But I only say that to say, it's like, I told the flight attendant, if you don't land this plane, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
Because I thought I couldn't breathe, but clearly I'm talking so I can breathe.
Yeah.
But there's no talking sense to you.
They landed the plane for you.
No, you don't got to do that, Sam.
I thought you were saying there was an emergency landing and that gave you the panic attack.
No, you could have hit me on the side, Sam. We could have talked about it, but you got to, people... No. I legit... So I was leaving Aspen, altitude already, and I was like, man, I'm uncomfortable. It was during COVID. I'm wearing a mask. I was just uncomfortable. And I can tell you from the moment of being uncomfortable to I'm going to die, that all happened in 60 seconds, in all seriousness. And I was like, I got to get off this plane. I'm going to die. So, there's you feel trapped, like a panic attack's like a scary thing. No one could tell me I wasn't going to die. So when you say that, I get it fully.
Have you had one, Sam?
Nah.
Wow. Big.
No.
I love that for you. I love that. Jewell, have you had a panic attack ever?
I have not.
I hope you both never have one. They really are. You start to lose your sense of reality. There's such a fine line between knowing, feeling anxious and then fight or flight. And when your body starts to when you start to freak out, I would lose vision, I feel like I couldn't see anymore, and I would just be weeping, everything just felt so devastating. I was just I'm dying, nothing's good.
Now that I think about it, I may have had one of those.
See, yeah, you see?
Now you explained it like that.
Should you put it that way?
But I think for me, that was a very hard time in life in general, but even as in college, I struggled a lot with putting a ton of pressure on basketball, and I struggled with confidence, and there were just so many things where I felt like I couldn't even be myself. When your mental's not right, it's so hard to do anything. It's hard to perform, it's hard to be around people, it's just hard to get through the day. And so I think mental health, and I think about it all the time now with what athletes or comedians or what anybody that has to perform for a living, now all that they have to deal with, or really we have to deal with, right? Social media, so many people talk about you, so many people have something to say, so many people who don't know you but think they know you because they see you and they laugh at your jokes and they watch you play. They think they know you, so they feel like they can speak on you. There's just so much that goes into it. So I'm really thankful that I started, meditating. I meditate daily. Sometimes I miss my meditation, but I feel a difference when I don't meditate versus when I do. And my ability to, I always take a deep breath before we go on air. Just my ability to stay grounded and stay present has been huge for me, especially with this recent stretch I've been on in my career. The mental health aspect it's just been, I can't speak enough about it, honestly.
What do you guys think it's been that's kept you guys motivated, moving, dust yourself off, and staying with the grind after, whether it be a failure, a disappointment, the uncertainty?
I mean, for me, it's a desire to be great. You know, like I didn't choose to do comedy for money. I didn't choose to do comedy so people would like me. I wanted to be good at something, and I thought I could be really good at this. And I wanted to know like where my potential was gonna take me. And so if you're pursuing that, it's like you're just always trying to get better at your craft. You know, every time you hit a level, you also see there's another level to hit. And so for me, that's the motivation. It's just like, I want to be one of the greats. So how can I stop?
That's dope. Jewell, Drea?
That shit was real. I mean, it's kind of the same. Like, I want to be like a master of my craft. I put in so much time and sacrificed so much. Why stop? I'm kind of the person where if I really believe that I could do something, I'm going to do it, and I want to do it. And with all the success that comes with it, I want to give so much back. So I feel like all my work, all the mastery that comes with it, I know I didn't get here by myself. So I have like a yearning to give back. And so if I slack, then that's like disrespectful in my head to my parents who sacrificed so much, right? And so that's how I think about it, is like I'm gonna put in everything I can to be great, to master my craft, to be successful, but with that, I'm gonna give that back as well, because there's someone else that I could bless and inspire to do the same thing and challenge them to be their best self every day.
Dope. Dre?
Yeah, I think the amount of support that I've had, like my family, my friends, my colleagues, my mentors, there are just so many. I feel surrounded by so much love and so much support that even when things don't go right, my people are just always pushing me forward, even if I want to turn around and go back. Another big thing for me is I talk a lot about how I kind of failed at basketball. Like I failed as a basketball player, and for a while I thought...
You really feel that way? You feel like you failed at basketball?
I did. Well, because I wanted to be a professional basketball player. So like that was my dream. I wanted to play in the W. But I used to, for a long time, I used to think like, oh, my failure has fueled this new career. But I think what actually fueled my ability to now try and be a great analyst was chasing being a great basketball player. Like, it's not that I failed, it's that I know what it feels like to work for something. I know what it feels like to chase greatness. I know what it feels like to put in the time. So when basketball didn't work out for me, and then I found this new passion, all of those old habits just kicked back in. I know how to prep. I know how to study. I know how to put in the time. I know how to put in the hours, push through fatigue, hop off a plane and go do a show, be uncomfortable. So it wasn't the failure. I had to change my mindset a little bit, that my failure didn't really fuel this. It was knowing what it feels like to chase a dream and then being willing to chase another one that I think has gotten me here.
Yeah, I think that's like super key though. Like we were saying, like you're like everyone who poured into you, because I know I felt that way too. It was like if I didn't go chase this thing and I didn't figure out like what I was supposed to give to the world really, then it's like my mom died in vain. Everything she laid into me, every part of herself that she poured into me to make me a person, if I don't go do something, then what was it all for, you know? So I think, you know, the people around you too, man.
One of the things we were talking about in the back, actually all of us collectively and individually, was that options are always a good thing, all right? And speaking of options, with Unrivaled, right? Want to just hear you just played in it. Want to hear just what your experience was and what you thought it would be going into it, and what your point of view on it is, having just finished the first season.
I had no idea what we were doing. Obviously, it was like we were going to go to play basketball, but besides that, we didn't know the structure, we didn't know the layout, all those things. And to get down there and to see what it was like, wow, like this really came together. Obviously, you had the top players. You had everything you needed, you know, from, you know, your masseuses, facials, childcare. I mean, it was phenomenal. And that's like a way better option than going overseas in a foreign country, not speaking the language, and you're just by yourself. And then the only thing you have is basketball when you're overseas. Like, you don't really have your family, you don't have your friends. Obviously, you have your teammates, but if you don't speak the language, you're just kind of like...
Damn, so it is like loving basketball.
Just like loving basketball. Just like loving basketball. No, I'm being serious. Like, I'm just like it. My teammate was like, listen, the last 3 minutes of the quarter, just shoot. I was like, are you sure? Like, now you speak English? Like, all of a sudden, it was crazy. Yeah, I'm like, we've been there 6 months, and now you want to start... Unbelievable. But, you know, like you said, you want options, you know, and obviously being here and helping to grow the game, too, is a positive as well. So I mean, it's a blessing to have, what we have and what we're doing, and it turned out really well. Everyone was healthy, and, it's a win.
Before we get out of here, again, looking to the future, what has you guys excited about the future of the women's game, whether that's the young players or just the opportunity? Would love to, hear from the three of you in all seriousness, even as a fan. Like, what are you guys excited about that you see coming up?
I'm excited about the players coming in. You watch like Gilbert Arenas' daughter, and you're like, bro, it's about to get crazy. I truly believe you give it another 4 or 5 years, we're gonna be like seeing a lot of dunking. You know what I mean? Like, it's all just gonna
evolution, right?
Yeah, the evolution. I think people just need to allow the game to evolve, and I think people are finally getting that. Like, it drives me crazy when they're like, lower the rim, do this right now, and it's like, bro, just let them grow into the thing. Like, y'all used to play on a peach basket, brother. Like, come on. It takes time, but it's happening. I really feel like it's happening, so that's what has me excited.
No, for sure. It's definitely the players. Obviously being a player, you're always looking for a challenge. You're kind of questioning, like, all right, like, I can't wait, 2 years? What, she has 1 year? Like, I'm looking at colors, like, all right, I know she goes left. I'm, like, scouting right now, getting ready, and it makes you better, it holds you accountable. It's not easy to always be at your best, but when you watch players like, Juju, whatever, you're like, all right, I got to tie my shoes a little bit tighter. I got to get my stuff together, make sure my body's good, because, it's go time.
They coming.
Yeah, for now, but we got it over here. We're good. Yeah, no, the Aces got it over here. All right, don't worry about that.
Jewell's like, I'm fine.
Yeah,
I'm not actually worried. Yeah, I think same thing. I think it's really cool now, right? Like, young girls are growing up with the instant ability to watch women dunk, do step backs, do all of these crazy moves. And so these young girls are training with that in mind. Like, they're training, seeing it done. And so they're training to dunk the ball. They're training in a completely different way, which I think is why we're seeing now these players in college doing what they're doing, because they trained thinking about moves they've seen Jewell do or Asia do or all these amazing players. So I think just as the game grows, for me, selfishly, there's more to analyze. There's more to break down. There are more exciting plays to talk about. And it's just fun to be a part of it, honestly. And I think more people want to invest, and the teams are now buying in and taking care of the athletes better, which I think is then going to result in better performance on the court. And so I think it's building. Like, it's just getting better and better. So it's cool to be, right next to it as it's happening.
I think one of the things I've realized in my old age is that representation really, really matters. It's important that someone can see, even what the opportunity could be. And you said there's young women or girls training to be, the next W stars or whatnot. And I genuinely mean this from my heart. It's like, I think we have 3 incredible examples up here, giving young girls something to strive for. So that doesn't just happen. And I think you guys are out there doing it, right? So you may be a little too close to it to realize it, but I think the work you guys are doing is incredibly important, even beyond your careers. And I think we'll see the fruits of that labor probably 10, 20 years from now. So I want to thank you guys for being on the show.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Give it up
Thank y'all for
them, please.
coming. Thank
Thanks
you.
for joining us for the
Really
shot.
appreciate it.